Number 4. The opposite of negative 7 plus or minus square root of negative 7 quantity squared minus 4 times 5 times 40 all over 2 times 5. Wow. So I'm thinking right here, I want to simplify that. So I have the opposite of negative 7, and remember that's the same thing as just a positive 7. So I can rewrite that 7 plus or minus, and then I have the square root, negative 7 squared. Underneath that square root, that's the first thing we have to work on, right? So negative 7 squared is negative 7. Because of the parentheses, I'm taking negative 7 times itself, and I get a positive 49. So I have 49, and then I want to change it to plus a negative 4 times 5 times 40. All over, remember I can work the denominator, 2 times 5 or a 10. And now I'm still working inside, underneath the radical, in the radicand, and I have 49 plus, and I have to handle those multiplies next. So I have negative 4 times 5 times 40, and when I multiply those I get negative 20 here times 40. That's going to give me negative 800. So I want to rewrite. So I have 7 plus or minus square root 49 plus negative 800, or it's the same thing as minus, right? Over 10. I could rewrite that 7 plus or minus square root of 49 minus 800. And then remember, I have to take care of that subtraction before I can handle that square root. So I've got to do that. So negative 800 and 49. So 49 minus 800, you can do that on your calculator if you want. 49 minus 800, and I get negative 751. So I have 7 plus or minus square root of negative 751 divided by 10. And I know with that negative under the radical that I'm going to have to pull an I out. So negative 751, I can see is going to be the square root of negative 1 times square root of 751. And I'm looking at 751 and thinking, I wonder if there are any factors. And so if I add up 7 plus 5, I get 12, plus 1 is 13. So I know that that 3 won't work, 9 won't work. I know 5 won't work, 2 won't work, 10 won't work. I can try 7. So 751 divided by 7. It doesn't come to a whole number. I can try 11. 751 divided by 11. Not a whole number. 751 divided by 13, because that's the next prime. Still not a whole number. 751 divided by 17, and I get 44.17, still not a whole number. 751. I want to know what the square root is. It's 27 something, so that's the highest I have to go. So 751 divided by, I did 17, how about 19? Not a whole number. 751 divided by 23. Not a whole number. 751 divided by 29. And that's beyond the square. So it's a prime number. And what the way I can do it is if I take the square root, 751, take the square root, it's 27 point something. That means if I look at all the primes up to 27, then if none of them work, then the number is prime. So I know that that number is prime, which means that it's just going to be I times the square root of 751. And then when I rewrite over here, it's going to be 7 plus or minus I times the square root of 751 over 10. And even if I broke this one apart into 7 over 10 and then the I square root of 751 over 10, neither one's going to reduce. So I can just leave it in this form. And remember that it is two separate numbers. 7 plus I square root of 751 over 10, and 7 minus I square root of 751 over 10. So I have two separate answers right there. And this one is not going to convert into a decimal very easily either.